The word trauma means wound to yourself, so that could be either physical, emotional or mental. Anything that means that you've been hurt and that you've been at risk of a serious hurt, whether it's you perceiving that you're at risk or you've actually been at risk. If we've been in a traumatic incident, it really shakes our view of the world. So it makes you start thinking, well, if this could happen once, it could happen again. I could be at risk again. I could be at harm again. So it really does shake your view of the world, and it takes a while to piece it all back together again. It's a whole range of things that can cause traumas, and the important thing is that we don't judge it by our own standards. Actually, we take what the child is and the young person is letting us know as to whether it was traumatic for them or not. So for example, a road traffic accident, witnessing domestic violence at home, being bullied, even watching things on the television that have been quite violent can traumatise a young person as well. A time where a child experiences an unstable environment might be traumatic in itself, even if there's not just one incident that happens. It could be some kind of emotional abuse, some threat of some kind of violence or abuse over time that will add up to make the child feel quite traumatised by it. Becoming very tearful, very sad, getting anxious about other things that they were absolutely fine doing before. So for example, if they've been fine going to school, suddenly they don't want to go to school, they don't want to go out with their mates anymore, they don't want to go to youth club. And also you'll see things like maybe a bit of bedwetting or a bit of regression in terms of wanting to do things that they wanted to do when they were very little and had actually grown out of. But the main things are nightmares and flashbacks, and just sort of uncontrollable anxiety attacks, really, where suddenly they're getting memories of the trauma and they can't really deal with it. You don't necessarily need to seek professional help within the first month, because what the brain and the body is doing is processing the trauma in a very natural way. Sometimes if you interfere with that, it means it doesn't sort of happen in a very natural way. So in the first month, just provide as much security and safety as you can, as much reassurance. Don't push the young person too much, allow them to go at their own pace, but also keep to your boundaries as well. Just because you've experienced a traumatic incident, it doesn't mean that you can just suddenly start behaving wildly and there are no boundaries. If after a month that young person is still experiencing traumatic reactions, then go to see your GP, and they may well refer you to see a clinical psychologist or another therapist. It's about giving them a little bit more of a sense of control over the world. Because if you remember what trauma does, it makes you think you're out of control, the world is out of control, and it's very unsafe. So by giving them choices and letting them, decide what they would like to do, that can really help. If you don't deal with trauma quite soon after it's happened, it actually sticks around forever, really, and it can have a massive impact on how you think about yourself and how you think about other people. So for example, it's been shown that young people who have been traumatised and haven't had support and help to get through it, they start using substances more, they become more promiscuous, they can drop out of school. It can have a massive impact. So the important thing is to try and help the young person deal with it.